Hello, everyone, and welcome to the new episode of the interview line on Unakriti's YouTube channel. We at Unakriti help you tap your avatars. And every time we bring a fantastic person your way who shares their journey of how they are monetizing multiple potentials in them. Today on the interview line, we have Mugi with us, and he has been working with Fortune 500 companies all through, and then took 3 years on building an idea from a scratch and started his own venture in partnership with a great person. That went on and gave him amazing learning opportunities. And then he came back to the corporate world after selling the IP rights of the company to a mid sized firm. Mugi has amazing lessons for us, what it takes to start your own venture, what it takes to have professional continuity, and what we need to do about it. So, welcome, Mugi, on the interview line.
Thanks, Navita. Thank you very much for sharing that. That was very kind of you to share a few words about me. And it's really a pleasure to be on your channel. I think you've been doing phenomenal things, which I've been seeing over a period of time. Really honored to be part of this session and happy to share whatever I could from my learnings for everyone.
Thank you. Thank you so much for making time and for those kind words. Mugi, you have been working in the corporate environment for a very long time and leading senior level positions. We have come across that whenever somebody wants to follow their passion or consider monetizing different potentials within them, one of the things that stops them is how will it turn out. If it doesn't turn out the way they want it, will it impact their professional continuity? So tell us how your journey began. Leaving a job from a fantastic organization is not an easy choice, and getting into something of your own definitely requires a lot of courage. So tell us how your quest to explore multiple potentials within you started.
It's not an easy thing, to be honest, for anybody to leave something which is where you are very well established and you're doing exceptionally well, and to jump into a completely unknown waters. It really gives a challenge to each of us, and to me also it's been the same kind of a thing. So I dilly-dallied at least for 2-3 years after I was very sure I want to get into business. At least for 2 to 3 years I dilly-dallied, and every time it was like, okay, I would another 5-6 months I'm there. I just need to get the first couple of things fixed up, and then I will kickstart it. I'll get the first few a little bit project moved to a certain level, and then I'll kickstart it. And sometimes the thought was that I'll get some investor light backing also, then I'll kickstart it. So this was there. I mean, for at least for 2.5 years. Then one of the days I met up with I used to meet up with angel investors at that point of time. And one of the angel investors, we were sitting in a coffee shop and discussing about the idea and the project. And he asked me about the idea. So I was passionately sharing about the idea and all of that. So he said, "Is the solution ready? Are you guys up to getting on the ground?" He said, "No, the idea is there. Okay, the solution will get ready." Then he said, "All right, okay, okay. How many people right now are there in the team?" Okay, I said, me and my partner, and then we would be shortly getting, we are interviewing people, we'll be shortly getting 3-4 people. He said, "Absolutely, that's fine. Okay, I believe at least you both guys are already jumped into the business full time, right? You're not doing your current job." He said, "No, we are just about to get in. Okay, we are there. Okay, we are still in our current jobs, but we will get there. So have you put the papers?" Okay, I said, "No, not yet. We will be putting the papers." So this went on like that, and then he and then he sat back, and then he took a sip of his coffee, and then he said, "Hey guys, have you heard about the N+1 syndrome?" I said, "No, what's this N+1 syndrome?" He said, you ask the NRIs who are in US and UK, most of them, not everybody, when are they coming back? Are they plans? Okay, they'll be like, next year we are back in India. I mean, we just want to get back to our families. I mean, come back and resettle back in India. But after next year, you ask them the same question, they'll be like, next year we'll come back. So this is the N+1 syndromes. Even after 3 years, also that will remain the next year. The truth is that they are not lying to you. They honestly believe that the next year they will come back. So, you guys have also been bit by the N+1 syndrome. Okay, don't get too excited. Okay, whenever you want to start, okay, we will talk about it at the point of time. But I think that was a moment when I really caught myself, my partner also. We also kind of like caught ourselves and said, hey, I think we both are kind of like, I mean, fooling ourselves. I think we will be going on like this. If you're really serious, let's put a date and jump onto it. Okay. I think a lot of ifs and buts will remain for the rest of our journey, but let's put a. So I think 1 year down the line, we had taken a class. Within 3 months, we informed the companies, and then we give a longer notice period so that we also have time to prepare. But it was formed up, and we had informed the companies. I mean, I informed my APAC head, and he informed his CEO and director, and then we jumped in. Okay, so that's how it was started for both of us.
Yes, you highlighted it pretty well that taking certain decisions, we keep postponing and procrastinating it because you know a lot of times people are caught up in that comfort zone that when the time will strike is when we will take that decision. But it does require you to just take that conscious call, find the right people who will work with you and get going with that idea. So I can hear from your journey that it did take time to arrive at a decision, but once you took the decision, you probably moved pretty fast at going ahead with it because you said about 3 months. So, what was that idea about? You said you started it from the scratch and the idea was ready, the product was yet to be developed. What was your venture about, and how did you move ahead with that journey?
Well, I come from a payments and fintech background, so the idea that initially that was that I had come up or we had been planning for a long time is about is getting the point of sale, which is the payments to you go to the shops and big shops and all, you use cards to make the payments. To bring it down, right down to a level where even the kirana shops, the small sabji walas, okay, on the sabji mandis, they all have this kind of card accepting solution, which is a small device and you can be plugged in with a mobile phone. There were some success of similar such scenarios in the US. So we kind of like were looking at that as being the one. There were one or two companies which already started that model in India. But this was 2 years before we started our venture. So that was the original idea that we kick-started with. Then by the time we were about to take a call, we had already changed one because we had already seen the movement not that much happening in this space with our initial players who had gone into the space. So then we changed the modality and we got into a different idea even before we had quit our jobs. And that was more into a O2O kind of a platform. And the idea was to get a lot of online exploration of the whole malls and the marketplaces, at the same time being able to swing business into the malls and the market areas. So that was the idea that we had started with. But that idea also changed after I think 8 months after we got into it. So I think ideas are definitely the trigger points. However, I don't think ideas are the pillars or the foundation stones for the whole partnership between two people or three people or the whole business to drive. Because almost every single founder or co-founders, they would have repivoted themselves. They would have given up their original idea that they came up with and went with a new idea. Uh, More than the idea, what is key important is your drive to pursue something that you deeply believe in, and holding the fort together, and making the numbers happen. So that's what is more important.
Yes, that's a very very important point. That few things that stand out is when you're trying to do something new, or when you are starting a venture of your own, ideas evolve. It's not that what you initially thought is going to take off the way you had imagined it to be, and then what keeps you going is the drive, because things can take a shape or a turn, which may be unexpected or may not have been planned for. But if the drive is there, that's what keeps us going to be committed to what we have picked up. So how did it move forward for you? You quit your jobs and you started with the new venture. What were the things that were involved to set up a business? Did you get funding? Did you invest your own money? How did you go about planning for the risks, and what is it that you expected to achieve from this venture?
Yeah, the first thing, as I said, was like taking the big call, informing your company that, hey, I have taken this call, I am leaving, okay, and this is the time, uh, and that call is like 20% you have already entered into the business. So once that is the, and prior to that, obviously you have made certain arrangements, which is like, okay, this is what I'm getting into. How am I going to take care of my day-to-day livelihood of my family, um, sustain my family and their child's education, um, and those things. So in my case, I was clear. I had a I had a house which I could bank on, and the house had already grown an appreciation of 100+%. And I knew that if things are not going to go as per plan, I will capitalize on the appreciation, and I will have to let go the house. So that was a very clear plan. It was not something that was not planned for. So that was the thing. And meanwhile, I would use the funds that I have to run the family and the livelihood. Um, my wife was also doing her business, so it was also supportive to a certain extent, okay, to run the house. And so that was a couple of things that had to be taken care of. Um, so 3 years was a time when we could clearly say we could 2 to 3 years we could do it without any challenges. And the idea is to, during the time of plan, to strike it higher up, make sure the revenues flow in, and then to get the revenues to run the business, or to get the investors to run the business. So that was what the rough idea at that point of time was. And me and my partner together, phenomenal partner. I think one of the most important thing is to get somebody as a partner whose thought process sync. Uh, when I say thought processing, it doesn't mean that you both have to agree on every single thing or have to agree on everything, but the pillars of the organization lies on us two, and it's important that one stands by the other person. And we had differences of opinion in how should we go about, what should we do, and all of that. But once we took a big call on certain things, then each of us were like backing us completely. I mean, I could close my eyes, I know my partner is there. My partner would close my eyes, I know I'm there. So not everybody is very lucky to have that, but having such a partner plays a very vital role during your entire journey, actually. So those were key things to manage, and we invested equally into the business. So it was self-funded. So I put in half the money, and my partner put in half the money. And he came from a technology background. I come from a business background. So we complemented from a skill perspective and from a finance perspective. And yeah, and then we started rolling out. Okay, um, the business.
Okay. So it does require the kind of planning that you, so I hear you say that you did anticipate the risks that may come in. And if a risk is realized, how will you take care of those things? You also took care of the funding and finances, not only for the business, but also how the house is going to be running, and how your key expenses are going to be met till the time the takeoff of the work happens. And you found a like-minded partner who could contribute ideas and contribute funds as well, because two people then took the baton forward together. What was the outcome? How did the business do, and what followed next? What was the outcome of all this time, money, and investment that you did from all point of views? How did it go? Did it meet your expectations? Did it meet the expectations of everyone around you? How was the journey then on?
All right. So, as I said, we repivoted one more time in the course of the business. The O2O business was what was once started with. And then we had a hospitality tech kind of a platform, which was core to the O2O business. Um, when we knew that the O2O is not taking the shape that we're expecting and it's not driving the business, we quickly shifted ourselves into a B2B business and started providing a hospitality technology solution to the restaurants. So it was a kind of a solution which was to replace the physical menus with a digital menu, and as customers come and they use the physical menu to place the order. The menu too is to kind of like come up with interesting ideas and suggestions, okay, of what they can take. So in entertaining the customer on one side, okay, or giving more suggestive thoughts to this customer on one side, and at the same time enhancing the revenues of the upselling and cross-selling, and enhancing the revenues of the restaurant. So all the suggestion was very much customized based on each restaurant, and speaking to the F&B directors of the restaurants, and it used to be customized, and algorithms used to be prepared in hand to have this happen. So that is what was a core model, to increase the business of the restaurants and to give the customers a much more delightful experience while they are using the suggestive menu on their friend. Well, we had close to around 80 to 90 restaurants of different sizes, right from a 20-seater or a 20, 30-seater restaurant to a fine diner, to a casual diner, to even ITC and Radisson restaurants using our menu. So the whole solution was working very well. The customer adoption was not that great. We learned over the last period of the last 2-3 years of our business that customers in India primarily were more keen on speaking to the waiters. So there were increase in business, but the number of customers who were actually utilizing that were less than what we have anticipated. So in terms of outcome, the financial outcome, the cash flow, which is what core matters to any business, okay, it was not as per what we had expected. It was definitely lower than what we had planned. So yeah, the burn rate was more than the run rate. We were getting restaurants, but the usage was less than what we had planned. The product market fit, which is what is core to any business, is what we learned actually. So you come up with an idea, but really how much the idea is needed by the restaurant business or by the customers is something that, or by anybody, how much your idea is really needed is a question that we had not completely given a full thought on. So we learned our mistakes, and the biggest one is that it's not great to have a product which is nice to have. It's very important to have a product which is a must-have. And better the customer explicitly says, and the industry explicitly says, yes, this is what we want, then you're in the right place. So yeah. So we kind of like after the whole process, we MNC who loved our solution, who've been watching us for many years, seeing our solution, reached out to us and said, guys, can we buy your solution out? Okay. So so we said okay. I mean, we at the by the time I had made the call to wind off the business, okay, we know it was not financially working out, and it was a hard call. It was something that we did not want to take it for a very long time, but it was important to take given the finances in the account. And MNC said, the chairman of the company said, this is not the right time for this solution, but I know a time will come when the solution will be the most important. And then he took it. So we are happy that the idea is still alive, and we know that we are given the right hands for it to be taken at a right point of time, and we really want to see that work. But the outcome that we desired for ourselves and our business to grow, that did not happen, and we are complete about that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that perspective, Mugi, because success is such a subjective matter which is defined differently by different people. And through your journey, even though you're saying that you had to take the tough call and the product and the business did not do as you had anticipated to, you did have a fan. You did develop, enough equity in the market to get noticed, and then then a business wanting to buy the IP rights of your product because they still trusted what you created. And that itself is quite a big thing to me, at least, that even though you decided to move out of that business, you literally have not closed it in that sense. You passed it on to somebody else at this point in time. So from here on, your journey shifted, and currently you're working with a fast growing B series fintech organization, and you have moved back into the corporate space again, leading senior level leadership positions. How has the transition been for you? And if at all, your entrepreneurial journey and the 3 years that you invested in that business has been beneficial in your comeback into the corporate space?
Yeah, definitely. The person who was 3 years before, when he joined, if he had joined the company which I currently joined, uh, I don't think he would have been able to provide that much contribution to the organization he's right now. So I was a business development person, driving a business for Fortune 500 companies even before I started the business. Uh, but there are so many aspects and so many elements of a business, of driving a business, running a business, that I really learned that I was not at all aware of. In those 3 years, I think I grew by, in professional sense, I grew by another 15 years or 20 years more than I would have taken if I had continued to remain in corporate world without getting into business. So today I understand the facts and the perceptions more clearly. I've been able to judge and evaluate where and what bets to take and not to take, and what is the right thought process to bring into the organization and not to bring into the organization. So I would say I'm at least 15 years far more experienced in bringing the right calls at the right times and knowing what will work and what will not work into the organization. So it tremendously has helped. As I said, when David was doing the sculpture, okay, and he was making giving shape and life, okay, to the masterpieces that we all know in the world. And nobody knew it's just a rock, okay, but he chiseled. Only he could see that. He chiseled, and then finally he got that happen. So I think every entrepreneur goes through the chiseling and becomes completely rounded, but the journey doesn't stop. I do not say I have reached wherever. I'm a work in progress, and I will, I think, remain a work in progress for the rest of my life. But I think I have gained a 15 years additional of know-hows of how to run the business in the last 3 years. In those 3 years of me doing and being an entrepreneur, so that way it has tremendously helped.
Wow. I mean, 3 years giving 15 to 20 years of experience is not a small thing. And the attitude and the perspectives that you're sharing are really liberating because, Mugi, one of the things that we've come across when we work with people, either in the space of coaching or when they're starting their new business and we're developing websites for them, is what if it doesn't take off? What if it doesn't take the shape that we want to? Many times we've also come across people not being able to take the leap, that they feel stopped, that if things don't go in the shape that they wanted to, will they be able to go back to the jobs or the corporate environment that they're leaving, the comfort zone that existed of having the monthly salaries coming in. But your journey clearly is an inspiration in giving that nudge to those people that things work out, things fall in place. We need to let ourselves get out of that comfort zone. So if somebody is lingering with the idea, should they not, and if, will it work, will it not, what are some of the tips or lessons that you can share from your journey that can help them take that decision, whether they should leave the job and get into a venture, irrespective of what the outcome is, and the continuity that they can maintain despite of the outcome? We would be happy to share tips from you in this area.
I honestly believe that that it's a personal decision. Uh, I don't think that either of the calls, whether to get into business or to remain in a 9 to 5 or to remain in a corporate as more like an entrepreneur, either of the three calls are um, are incorrect. Um, I honestly believe that each of us, okay, should follow our passion. Most importantly, so if your drive inside you is deep, okay, and that you really want to do it, and this is what is the thing that's calling you, one, um, and I think you have a single life to try it out. Okay, you should not be waiting. You should go ahead and go on. Okay, but if you're looking at, hey, I'm not liking my current job, I'm not liking my current role, or I don't like my current boss, I think I'm better off on my own. I think life will be much better off in business. Okay, if that's the thought process that you are in, well, I'll suggest find some other job in that case. Because business has much more challenges than what a normal 9 to 5 or corporate role has. So if you're really willing to take 10x more in terms of challenges than what you're already having, and you're willing to go that extra length to achieve your dream and your vision, then it's the right place to go in for. But otherwise, you are not any lesser or any this thing if you didn't take a call of doing a business, and if you remain to pursue a life of corporate. There are many heights to reach in corporate life as well. Nothing wrong in that as well. So I would not want to make one life lesser than the other life. What would be greater is whichever your heart is convinced on, deeply loves, you love to do, not by fear, by love of it. Go ahead and pursue that, and just do not do it because it's not something that the current one is not making you happy, and that's why you want to do it. Don't do it for that sake. So that's what I believe in, and I'm just sharing what I believe in to you with each of you actually.
That's a very important point because there are times when we are taking certain decisions because we're not happy in what we're doing. So it's the thought that when I am not here and somewhere else, like if I'm doing a job, if that's not giving me happiness and I pick up a business, that's going to give me more happiness. What you are pointing out is know your why. Getting into something on your own, one needs to be clear of why you're doing it. If it's your passion, then you're saying don't wait any longer, just jump into it because it's one life. You should give it a try. If not now, then when? But if that is not the passion and you still want to get into business because not being happy in the current space, then it requires some thinking, it requires some ideation as to what is it that you're seeking. That is a very, very important point that you have highlighted. Uh, Thank you so much for sharing these wonderful ideas. You have been working as a leader in the corporate space for a very long time, have worked into your own business, have had experience in investment and in running your own business, and now back into the corporate space. If somebody wants to reach out to you and seek insights from your experience, would you be okay if they connect with you via your LinkedIn handle or Facebook handle?
Yeah, more than happy to share it. I mean, life is there to share, and would love to help or give guidance to anyone. Okay, who not guide. I'll say share my experiences with anyone who likes to know more about it and deeper into what I've gone and what they could probably get from my insights. I'm more than happy to share that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all the time that you have given, sharing your journey and sharing your experiences. Any closing words, parting words you'd like to say to audience before we close this interaction?
Navita, I remember when I was getting into entrepreneurship, we used to try to look at many such videos to find out, okay, what others' thoughts are, and we used to go for meetings and do that. It's phenomenal that you are conducting such interviews that takes a real insight about what people like us are doing, and then bringing it out and helping each of the people to explore their different avatars and not kind of like motivating them to come out of their shells and try new things out. Uh, it's a wonderful thing that you're doing with the interviews, as well as other things like the counseling. And my God, you guys have a lot of things on the plate, and cloud hosting and web designing. I think phenomenal things that you are captured together and you guys are doing together. And thank you for contributing so much for the community. I mean, I'm really pleasured and honored to be part of this big thing that you're doing, and wish you and all the people that watching and being part of this series of yours a big success.
Thank you. Those are kind and encouraging words and special to us too. It's a pleasure for us also, Mugi, to have you on the interview line. And to all the audience, if anything is stopping you from moving ahead to explore multiple potentials within yourself, Mugi's journey give you an idea that things always work out one way or the other. He has shared excellent, aspects of his journey of moving from corporate environment, starting something of his own, making it arrive at a certain space, letting go of it, and moving back into the corporate space. And it all has been, in a way, contributing to his overall development and skills as a professional. So if you're holding yourself back, today's interaction will definitely make you think if you want to think differently. So we'll be back very soon with another interesting person like Mugi sharing their journey of how they are exploring their multiple potentials. Till the time we are yet to come back, don't forget to continue to tap your avatars. And if you have still not subscribed to us at Unakriti on YouTube, please go ahead and press the subscribe and bell button right now, because you do not want to miss these kind of fantastic conversations in the near future. Bye bye for now.